Hello everyone, and welcome to the weekly episode of Gaming Console News. The main topics today: Sony is patenting new technologies, another Xbox game will be released on PlayStation, new prices for games at $100 for the regular edition, and of course, PlayStation Plus has something exciting. So, dear viewers, to make sure you don't miss anything, get comfortable, check your subscription to the channel, and let's dive into the main events. It seems that Sony is already actively working on the PlayStation 6. In a year or two, we may get an official announcement of this new next-gen console. According to rumors, it will fully rely on an upscaler and will be shipped without a built-in disk drive. However, it will come with a 2TB SSD as standard. There are considerable concerns that this console from Sony might be very expensive compared to previous generations. Its starting price tag could even exceed $600. Looking at the PlayStation 5 Pro, it seems that players are willing to pay such a price. Several major and reliable insiders are reporting that Sony will soon host a large State of Play event, either at the end of January or in early February. We'll finally see new announcements for the PlayStation 5 as well as get a firm release date for games like Ghost of Yotei and the second Death Stranding. In addition, this presentation might include a reveal of backward compatibility with the PlayStation 3, a feature that has long been the subject of rumors and, in theory, should already be ready. Marvel Rivals has become the most popular free-to-play game for the PlayStation 5, surpassing even massive hits like UFL and Fortnite in online activity. Preliminary estimates suggest that the game's active online player base is around 2 million, with a significant portion of them playing on PlayStation. As for me, I haven't had the chance to try it out yet, so be sure to share your impressions of the game in the comments. 3 months after the release of the PlayStation 5 Pro, Electronic Arts has finally fixed the PSSR issue in Jedi Survivors. Now, on the PlayStation 5 Pro, you can play this game without any graphical bugs. This allows players to fully enjoy the booties of various planets with enhanced graphics. Based on game analytics, the PlayStation 4 console has the potential to surpass the PlayStation 2 in terms of its support lifespan. Even though the 4th generation was released way back in 2013, at least 20 releases are planned for it in 2025. This demonstrates a long life cycle for the console, which is undoubtedly a joy for its owners. To surpass the PlayStation 2's milestone, the PlayStation 4 needs at least 1.5 more years of active support, including updates and new releases. I don't think this poses a significant challenge for the gaming market, as approximately 40% of all PlayStation users are still playing on the 4th generation. Whether we like it or not, developers are still compelled to adapt their games and optimize them for the PlayStation 4's hardware to sell their products. Therefore, it's highly likely that the PlayStation 4 will set a new record for the lifespan of a console. As for whether anyone will break this record in the future, that remains uncertain. Sony has filed 2 patents, and the first one is for a technology that reduces latency in online games on consoles. This is especially relevant for players with slow internet or cloud gaming. The technology is called Timed Input Action Release, and its goal is to reduce lag in gameplay by predicting the player's next actions. The new technology involves the use of an additional camera aimed at the player's fingers, which, through machine learning, will analyze movement and shorten the input time for commands. According to Sony, the delay between the player's actions and the system's processing can lead to undesirable consequences in the game, so this new patent may offer a solution to that problem. The second patent that the company has been working on has a more wild application than the first one. Its essence lies in an additional accessory for the DualSense controller which will allow it to be used as a gun for shooters or any other games that involve shooting. The device attaches to the bottom of the controller and uses the R1 and R2 buttons for aiming, immersing players in the experience. The patent shows this contraption very well, and I dare say that it will most likely be implemented for second-generation VR glasses gaming. As it became known, Sony is quietly refining the PSSR technology on the PlayStation 5 Pro without public announcement. Many had previously complained that the effect of this technology was barely noticeable, despite Sony's claims. Developers from one studio, adapting games for the PlayStation 5 Pro, reported that the company is quietly working on improving PSSR so that its effect is noticeable to the average gamer. Sony is already testing several new versions of the technology, which show better efficiency compared to the old one. These changes are being made discreetly to make PSSR a more noticeable and useful feature in games, taking into account user feedback. I agree with the opinion that the feature is useful, but at the moment its implementation is still somewhat raw, as in most cases, the difference needs to be searched for hours under magnification. What further supports my theory from the PS5 Pro review is that this console is needed for testing new technology, with the players themselves acting as testers. This is to ensure there are no issues with it when the PS6 is released. Analysts have shared some unpleasant news for gamers, suggesting that GTA 6 could possibly cost between $80 and $100 for the standard edition. Back in 2020, Take-Two set the price standard at $70 for a game, but now, according to analyst Matthew Ball, a new price hike is expected which will serve as a signal for other publishers. He believes that if Take-Two sets the price of GTA 6 at, for example, $90 for the standard edition, this will become the base price for other publishers, setting the standard price for a regular game. The price increase is typically driven by the rising cost of development, especially marketing expenses, and of course, inflation can't be ignored. So if GTA 6 gets more expensive, the entire industry will likely follow suit. Important news for the console market, Nintendo has announced a new console, the Switch 2nd generation. It will still be a flexible, portable stationary console with magnetic Joy-Cons and support for games from the original Switch, meaning backwards compatibility. The 2nd generation Switch has slightly increased in size, as shown in the first official trailer. Unfortunately, we weren't spoiled with too many details, but more information will be revealed on April 2nd, and sales will begin this year. Also, despite the fact that after the announcement, the company's stock slightly dropped, the trailer still generated a lot of interest from users online. So much so that in less than 48 hours, it surpassed the view count of the PS5 announcement trailer. The PS5 trailer from 2020 got only 13.3 million views in 2 days, while Nintendo already has over 17 million views. Ahead of the upcoming release of Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, the game has been compared on consoles, and the gameplay duration has also been revealed. If a player follows the main storyline exclusively, without getting distracted by other quests, it will take at least 50 to 60 hours. The average playthrough for players who don't aim to complete all the side missions but also don't ignore them entirely will take 80 to 100 hours, a typical playthrough, and a full playthrough with detailed exploration of all available content will take over 120 hours. I find that impressive, but it's not surprising, considering the script of Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. In terms of performance on regular PlayStations, there are 2 modes available: the quality mode at 30 FPS with scaling from 2000 to 4000 pixels, and the performance mode at 60 FPS with upscaling from 1080 pixels to 2000 pixels. The PlayStation 5 Pro gets a dynamic resolution solution from 2000 to 4000 pixels, utilizing PSSR and maintaining a stable 60 FPS. In a recent interview, Shuhei Yoshida put forward his theory on why Sony hasn't developed the Bloodborne franchise further. According to him, the stumbling block is not with Sony, but with the creator of the game and head of From Software, Miyazaki. At the moment, he is working on other, larger projects, but at the same time, he doesn't want to pass the franchise on to others, and Sony respects and supports his opinion. That's why Bloodborne fans are left in such a suspended state. No updates for the next generation, no continuation, because Miyazaki is busy with Elden Ring. Another Xbox exclusive will be heading to the PlayStation 5. Unfortunately, it's not the long-awaited Forza Horizon, but the studio Recreating Games has announced that their fun arcade fighting game about cute animals, called Party Animals, will be coming to PlayStation consoles. However, the exact release date has not been announced yet, but it will most likely be this year. Bloomberg cited a statement from Sony revealing that the company is canceling unannounced online games. According to Sony, things aren't going too well with new games, and recently they've canceled a whole bunch of live services, including the unannounced God of War Online and the shooter from the creator of Days Gone. While very little is known about the shooter from Ben's studio, the live service set in the God of War universe has been in development since 2022. It was being worked on by the creators of the Demon's Souls remake, and ideally, it was supposed to become their first standalone AAA project. So, its cancellation literally destroyed several years of work by that studio, and they're unlikely to surprise us with anything new anytime soon. And overall, it's being said that after the recent flops, like Conquered and Lego Horizon, Sony is now uncertain about what to do next and what to release. They've claimed the leading position in the home console market, but they don't know how to maintain it. That's why they're canceling games, following the principle of better to do nothing than to do something poorly and cause harm. The developers of the cult classic game, It Takes Two, have presented an extended gameplay trailer for their new creation, Split Friction, set for release in March of this year. From the information provided, it's clear that the gameplay centers around 2 writers, Mio and Zoe, whose fantastical worlds suddenly collide, trapping them in a virtual reality. Mio specializes in science fiction, while Zoe creates stories in the fantasy genre. The story will be somewhat similar to It Takes Two, where the main characters must find their way home from the intertwined fantasy worlds. Also, a very nice feature is that for co-op play, you won't need to buy a second copy. After one person purchases the game, the second player can join using the Friendly Pass and play for free. If you were planning to buy UFC 5, I have good news for you. The game has been added to the EA Play subscription catalog. In the PlayStation Store, they add a discount for $1 for a 1-month subscription about 3 to 4 times a year. So if you don't want to overpay, this is a great opportunity to get it as part of the subscription for $1. Or you can buy it for the full price, which is around $3 to $5. This past Wednesday, according to Sony's schedule, a new batch of games was announced, which will be available on the Extra, Deluxe, and Premium tiers starting January 21st. As strange as it may sound, for players to be completely happy, all it took was giving away just one worthy game, God of War Ragnarok, and everyone was thrilled. I'd also like to draw your attention to Like a Dragon Gaiden, The Man Who Erased His Name, and Atlas Fallen Raid of Sands. Overall, it's a pretty solid selection of games for those with a PS4 and PS5 subscription. The developers of the highly anticipated release this spring, AtomFall, shared 8 minutes of new gameplay. The events of this post-apocalyptic RPG with survival elements take place in 1960s England, 5 years after a disaster at a nuclear power plant. The creators showcased various aspects of the gameplay, including resource gathering, crafting, combat scenes, and interactions with NPCs. Based on gameplay aspects, it really reminds me of the recent Fallout series games. The release is scheduled for March 27th on PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5. Well friends, thank you for watching the gaming console news. I wish you a good rest. We'll hear from each other in the next episode.